podcast where we put you on the map. This is Ron Costa broadcasting live from the Mapable USA studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today, folks, we're going to talk about businesses and opportunity zones and maybe tie that into reggae a little bit as well. So before we get started, let's introduce Vicki Hutchmala from the QOZ Marketplace. Vicki, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fabulous, Ron. Every day is a fabulous day in Vegas. I think summer has arrived. We're getting close to 110, but then, you know, we kind of like it that way. Keep us on our toes.
Yeah, the only thing hotter than opportunity zones is the temperature in Las Vegas, right?
There you go. That's exactly correct. And we have a guest with us today who's got a unique and different kind of opportunity zone fund, and we're going to talk about what he's doing and why his fund is special and different from the rest. So we should get started.
Okay, well, let's bring on Leonard Mills. He's the president and CEO of the Verte Opportunity Fund. Len, how you doing there today?
Doing well, Ron and Vicki. Thanks for having me on.
Our
Great.
pleasure, Leonard.
Happy to have you on the show, Leonard. There's a lot going on in opportunity zones, as you know, and I'm excited to talk about yours today. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah. Hey, before we get started, though, let's get into you a little bit about your background and how you kind of got interested in the whole opportunity zone concept and what you're doing right now.
Okay, yeah, sure. I have a long career in asset management, mostly in fixed income and real estate at various institutional level. And went out on my own, created a small venture capital fund about 5 years ago, so I kind of got bitten by the venture capital asset class. And closed that fund. It started in 2015, closed it in 2019, and we're harvesting the gains on that one. But then when the opportunity zone stuff came along, I thought about that combined with that venture capital early stage growth company strategy, and I just thought it was a match made in heaven. The potential for these early stage companies to grow and prosper and bring economic development and community impact into the opportunity zones, I just thought was tremendous. I'm also an economist by training, long time ago, but and I just think this is tremendous tax policy. So I just kind of got smitten by the combination of venture capital and the opportunity zone, which is tremendous tax policy to bring much needed private capital into underserved areas for many decades in many cases. And I really like what we're doing with respect to bringing in young companies into that same space. So Vicki mentioned that we're unique, and that's true. We're not doing real estate development. Real estate development is great in opportunity zones and is in dire need. But on the other side of that, we need jobs in opportunity zones. So we hope to fill out the picture in the various investments in the opportunity zones that we're working in by bringing living wage and high-paying jobs into the opportunity zones.
Well, what kind of businesses are you working to develop, and do you have one specific project, or how many projects do you have? Are they localized or around the country?
We're spread out. We have 8 companies currently. Several of them are in Baltimore, Maryland, which is where I'm located in the Baltimore, D.C. area. But we have them in Atlanta, Georgia, Arizona, New Mexico. We haven't done Nevada yet, but that's on our list to look at. The state of Washington, Illinois. I think that's about it for now. We're hoping to continue to build out the portfolio. We have 8 companies now. Oh, Kansas City, Missouri. I forgot to mention that one. So we're spread out. We're also spread out across different industries as well. But go ahead, Vicki.
Well, I was just going to say, Len, what kind of industries do you work with? Do you have, or how do you decide what industry to help?
We primarily, again, from an investment strategy, the strategy is basically venture capital. So we're looking for long-term growth companies. They tend, as a consequence of that, they tend to have some kind of technology bent to them. They can either be creating some kind of technology. We have one company, for example, that's creating a medical surgical robot device that aids surgeons with again, some cutting-edge technology. And then we have other companies that are involved in emerging trends, technological trends. For example, we've made several investments in electric vehicle industry, both on the charging side and on the manufacturing side. So we either, we're looking for that growth. We think that's going to bring the most impact into the opportunity zones, but also from an investment point of view, because of the nature of the opportunity zones capital gains tax treatment, if you get that growth, that's all capital gains, and that capital gains, if the fund holds it for 10 years, which is our goal, we will have no capital gains taxes on that 10-year mark. So again, quite different than real estate. These are high growth companies, and as a consequence, high tax savings on the back end.
Well, it was when the program first was initiated, everybody saw it for the real estate aspect, which, was kind of the first step in the development of the plan. But a lot of people focused so much on real estate and forgot the job potential that was necessary. And I think, personally, Ron and I believe that that's really the focus of the program, is to bring jobs into the communities that are distressed. Yes, you need to build this and develop that and that, but you need to bring jobs in order for the community to sustain itself into the future for the 10-year period that you need for the tax deferment.
Oh, I agree 100% with that. The real estate side, it's a location-based program, so fundamentally you need to be located somewhere. And that's easy to do for real estate. You know where the building is. It's much harder to define what that means for a business. They could be selling their services worldwide. They're not necessarily confined from a business point of view to where they're located. So the IRS did not come out with the final rules, as you know, until December of 2019.
It took quite a while.
Final rules it took quite a while. They had some preliminary rules in, I think, June or May of 2019 around businesses, but that's the first time they said anything about the business. Again, a location-based incentive is easy in real estate, so people naturally latched onto that first. We are starting to see some more activity on the business side, but it's a late comer, but it is definitely part of the story with respect to the community development.
Yeah, it's kind of
when
an
most
evolution,
people, Yeah, when most people talk about these opportunity zones, they're talking about it from a real estate perspective, and they always throw that word, when people knock on it, they throw around that word gentrification all the time. And I think when you're talking from a business perspective, as far as bringing businesses into these zones, you lessen the chance of that happening, right? And I think that's one of the things that I really like about your fund, because you're concentrating on that. But my question for you is what stage of development are these businesses that you're investing into? Are they startups, or do they have a product already? Are they pre-revenue?
It's a variety. We're trying to build a diversified portfolio. So some of the companies are pre-revenue, and some of them are more established and have revenue and are even generating profits. So it really depends on the stage. So we're across the life cycle of the companies as well. I mentioned the robotics company as an example. That's very early stage. It's got to go through FDA approvals, and anything in biotech or medtech, there's a long process associated with that. On the other hand, we have companies that got involved in logistics, and were actually somewhat successful in the unfortunate instance of PPE, personal protective equipment, coming out of the pandemic or during the pandemic, and still going on. And that company was there at a crucial time, and they had a good year from an economic point of view on the logistics of all of this PPE. So it's a variety of different companies, different stages. I will say that even on the companies that aren't making a profit yet, you can already see the impacts in the neighborhoods. We have another company that's creating an animation studio. So again, a totally different industry. That one also happens to be located in Baltimore, but they've hired 150 people since our investment last fall. So, and they're young graphic artists, animators, and they would have traditionally gone to Los Angeles or Hollywood. But now they're staying right there in Baltimore. There's a pretty famous art school in Baltimore, staying right there, and they're living in the same neighborhood where they're working. So in terms of gentrification, it's not really. It's the exact opposite. It's kind of reverse. We're bringing jobs into the area, and the people that are working there are living there. So and they're as a consequence of those good jobs, they're also developing the apartment complexes around it. So the office space, the residential space, and the jobs, they kind of all have to work together in order to bring the community development. If you have one without the other, like your gentrification example, that's not gonna work. And if you have people coming into work there, but they don't have a place to live, then they would just go out to the suburbs or something. So that doesn't work either. So you need both of them. I'm not downplaying real estate at all. It's critical, but also the growth of the companies and the jobs are also critical for the economic development.
Well, it's that whole live, work, play concept. That live, work, play thing that you hear about all the time. Yeah. And you need these real estate.
The whole point.
Right. So Len, let me ask you then, let's say I'm an entrepreneur, I want to start a business, or I have started a business, and all of a sudden I stumble onto this idea about opportunity zones, and I say to myself, hey, you know what? Maybe I should locate my business or do my business in an opportunity zone. How does somebody find you as a fund, or how do you as a fund find me as an entrepreneur?
What's your criteria?
So again, we're looking for growth, so that naturally limits some of the types of businesses. We're also looking for people that, consistent with the opportunity zone 10-year horizon, we're there with what's sometimes termed patient capital. So we're not a traditional venture capitalist in that sense, but we're looking for quick exits. We hope to develop along with the companies, and we are looking for companies that genuinely have a passion about what they're doing and have a good team and a good idea, all the natural stuff or the usual stuff. But in addition to that, are committed to the opportunity zone location for the long term. Now, we are dealing with companies, and they can move around. So we need to think about how those companies will develop over time, and they are startups. They can get bought out, for example, and that's a good thing in some sense, because if they got bought out, the chances are they were successful, and we've made some good returns. But we have to, inside the fund, we do have to plan for those kind of contingencies. So the short answer is we're looking for good companies that have a commitment, at least in the foreseeable future, to the opportunity zone as well. We are going to be along there with them. We hope to continue to invest in them as they progress, and we hope they continue to progress themselves. So we're looking for that passion, that good idea, the normal stuff, but we're also looking for a long-term commitment and alignment of interest with respect to the opportunity zones.
So if somebody was going to have a business in an opportunity zone, having a specific business that develops that business and provides jobs to the community. What about a business that comes in to develop the opportunity zone in general, not necessarily a specific business like the medical robotic business that you've invested in, but a business that comes in to develop the entire opportunity zone for the people that are living there for what they may need, be it housing, be it commercial, be it businesses. Would you invest in a company like that?
Yes. Well, that goes along with some of the alignment of the goals. We also expect the companies to be active in the communities themselves.
Right.
And things like workforce development, that's important to us on the impact side. Because we're investing in, they have a lot of technology aspects to them that I mentioned earlier. Things like high school internships and training programs inside their businesses. They score points, if you will, with us for those kind of aspects. University relationships. We have several of our companies are involved with HBCUs, local HBCUs for economic development. So those kinds of things are also important to the businesses. They have to run their businesses, and that's what we're expecting them to do. But they also, we also look for those kinds of programs, benefits, child care, whatever is necessary for the local workforce. It's really interesting also because we're spread out that different communities prioritize different things in their impact view of the world. For example, one of the investments we made, actually in Arizona, New Mexico, there is with through a partnership that works with the Native American tribes. They're concerned about economic development, but they're also very concerned about the environment. So part of the investment there is to help do good for the environment, not just for the economic development. So there's this,
right.
And that's important.
Well, and there's a lot of tribes in New Mexico and Arizona for sure.
Yeah, and that's part of their what's important to them from an impact point of view. So we often talk about the 3 E's you may have heard of: environment, economy, and equity. And that's what we're looking for in those dimensions. The economy is sort of the economic growth. Could be environmental. I mentioned the electric vehicles is another area that we're interested in, and of course the equity across all economic groups.
And people need to realize as well that opportunity zones are not just in urban areas. There's quite a few opportunity zones across the country that are rural opportunity zones, like the tribes and reservations in New Mexico, Arizona. It's not a bustling big city, but they still need economic development.
Yeah, absolutely. And and we've covered that spectrum as well. Most of them are in urban areas, but we do have the one that I mentioned in a rural area as well. Yep.
We were talking. We did a podcast with someone. I think wasn't it Bob Hutchins, Ron, who was talking about. We asked him what he thought the new administration, what kind of impact they were going to have on opportunity zones, since they were raising the capital gains tax and various estate taxes. And to our surprise, he said, it's the best thing that could possibly happen because more people will then invest more money into opportunity zones. And Ron and I were kind of flabbergasted because we were thinking it was going to, oh, my God. And here he said, no. The higher the tax, the better for opportunity zones. What do you think about that, Leonard?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Again, if you think about it, principally on the real benefit is on this back-end exclusion from any capital gains taxes. zero. So
yes.
To the extent that they make, to the extent that tax rates go up, the differential, it only goes up. The advantage only goes up because of that. There's a little bit of math you got to do on the early stuff and think about the timing of the original capital gains events. But on the back end, which is where the real power is, if tax rates go higher, the bigger the benefit to the advantage
exactly.
to the opportunity zones. And I will speak to that's also true for the relative comparison between companies and real estate. And if you think about a real estate deal over 10 years, you might get a 3x or so on your original investment. That means you have 2x in capital gains, which gives that favorable tax treatment on the back end. If you have a company that does really well, it's very conceivable they could give 10x or even 20x.
Absolutely.
And again,
yep.
9, and all of that, I'll just use 10 for a round number, all of that, 9x, is capital gains tax free.
Yep.
So if you've got a 50% tax rate, so that's the differential on the business side. So not only does it favor opportunity zones in general, I actually think it favors business side relative to real estate, just because the potential for capital gains is higher on the business side.
Yeah, and even just a couple of big-time winners in a fund would work for something like that, because if you just have a couple of winners, then your fund explodes exponentially, and you're right, you really reap that benefit of the capital gains. It's an outstanding opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And it would cause people as well as businesses to look at their portfolios and say, well, let's sell this and let's sell that, and let's create more capital gains and let's create more investment, and there you go. The world's going around in a circle.
From a tax policy, it's really good policy. If the intention here is to bring capital into, and it's got bipartisan support, to bring capital and private capital into these areas. They may be, other tax incentives or other public dollars that are going in there as well. But the idea is to bring in, private capital into this area and give them incentives to do so. And it works. And it will work even more if they raise the tax rates, paradoxically. So to your earlier podcast, that's absolutely true. And it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh about it, because it's a good thing. That's the intention. That's why it's good policy.
Well, let me ask you this, Len. How do you envision the evolution of your Verte fund? What are you going to do in the future? You think you might go into crowdfunding or maybe into tokenization, or where do you think it can go from here?
Yeah, we view it as a multi-year effort. We're in it for the long run. We had an offering last year that we closed, but we did come out with a second offering under the same structure for this year. We had, as I alluded to before, we had some events inside the fund that were generating some cash, so we did have to reprice the portfolio. So we got our second offering out in the market now. We have 8 companies in the portfolio now. We hope to grow that, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 companies. So we view this as a continuous process for several years. And we do envision coming out with another offering in the near future, and we actually hope to make use of the Reg A offering platform in the subsequent years. But right now we have a private placement offering outstanding, and that's what we're concentrating on. But we view it as a multiple-year process to continue to fundraise and to continue to build out the portfolio and to continue to expand our reach. So it's just more and faster progress on the same themes that I've already mentioned.
Yeah, I would love to see something like that.
Yeah,
like an opportunity zone fund, kind of like morphing in concept to a Reg A offering would be would be groundbreaking. It would be really kind of a cool concept, I think, you know?
Yeah.
So
it also appeals to what we're trying to do. We'd like to get residents in the opportunity zones to be able to invest as well. In many of these opportunity zones, there's not many currently not many high net worth people in the opportunity zone. So we just think it would be great if we could not only have bring capital into it, but have capital grow organically within the opportunity zone. So that's our aspirational goal, to be able to offer this to all kinds of different investors. And we think it's doable.
Well, that might work with tokenization. You could tokenize one of the business projects and have the community invest in tokens to support the business and invest in it, and everybody's making money.
Right, exactly. So we hope to expand the reach from the investor side as well.
No, really, really interesting things. So, so Len, if I'm a company and I may want to be able to contact you and get in touch with you, give you my vision, et cetera, how would I do that? Is there a good phone number to reach you at, or a website, or email, or what?
Yeah. So I can give you all that information in the show notes. I'll just rattle them off here as well.
Sure.
The name of the fund is the Verte Opportunity Fund. The website is verteoz.com. We maintain a pretty active presence on LinkedIn as well with the company page. Give people updates about what all the individual companies are doing. So that's another way to find us. And my email address is lomills@pianalytics.net.
Okay, and I noticed on your website too that you list a number of webinars that you've done. Are they are they investor-based webinars?
A variety of different things. Some of them are investor-based. Some of them are more working with the local economic development agencies. We did one in Riverside, California, and we've been all over the place, Illinois, and helping the local economic development agencies increase awareness about the fund, and we found some good companies that way. But also, just as the Opportunity Zone program was rolling out, people are very interested in what's happening on the business side. So we were a guest, and thankfully so, to a lot of different webinars and a lot of different people. And now that we've got our seed portfolio built, and we're looking to continue that mission, we think it'll pick up speed here as well. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, we need more.
A lot of news.
Right. We need a lot of conversation on the business end of this stuff, because really, like we said so many times in this podcast, the business end of it is really, I think, what's going to grow opportunity zones substantially in the long run and sustain them. Because, it gets back to what you were saying too, Len, which is amazing. If you can get to the point where the residents in the opportunity zone can invest in their own communities and their own businesses right where they live and be able to gain wealth through that, you're revitalizing the community. You're making it so much better. Life is better for all these people, and I think that's really the heart of the goal of the program to begin with, right? Nobody ever talks about that actual what's it going to look like in 10 years. And if you're right and you're doing your job and everything is great, then you're going to be the poster child of a successful zone.
That's our goal. By the way, I will remind people that the program, even though the initial investment horizon is 10 years, the program goes out to 2047. So this is a long-term play, and again, that's the way we're focusing on it. We hope to, we need to investors want to get paid, and so we need to take care of them through time. But again, we envision this to be a very long-term program. There's some sunsetting of some of the provisions. But the capital gains back end provision goes till 2047. So we envision literally a long-term commitment to this, but making our investors liquid as we can along the way.
Yeah. Well, I just did the math on 2047, and it doesn't look good for my age.
Oh, I thought you were doing the exponential growth thing.
No, just for my age. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be around at that point.
We might find your children, or you'll pass it on.
Yeah.
There's actually quite a bit. There's quite a bit of the other thing I've discovered. People like this legacy idea around opportunity zones. They're having a lasting, some kind of. I'm with you with the joke, and I get it. I'm the same age, well, maybe even older. But that legacy, that I'm doing something that's going to last, that's actually very appealing to people, and it's certainly appealing to me. And kind of why another reason I got into the business of the opportunity zones. It just feels good to pass something on, and I think. Again, this program has tremendous potential to do just that. And people like to see it. Like I was talking about the animation studio there in Baltimore, and you can already see the streets right around it are already changing, and it's been a very short time. So it's very rewarding, I would say, for people.
My friends all know that I'm a Jet fan in football, and they always ask me, like, when are the Jets going to win the Super Bowl? And they always say, Ron, they're going to win the Super Bowl when the Opportunity Zone project ends.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, Vicki, what do you think about this? Are you in agreement in the importance of businesses and opportunity zones?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, the whole point of the Opportunity Zone program was to develop distressed communities. And in order to do that, it has different aspects, the real estate, the business, and the community. And what Leonard is doing with his Verte Opportunity Zone Fund is he's encompassing those things. So not only is the Opportunity Zone evolving, but the people and the community are participating in the project. And like you both said, there's nothing better in the world than to change the world for the better. And that's what Leonard's vision is, to change the world for the better, to make it better for the people who live in the Opportunity Zone, in the community, and to give them something for the future, for their family, and to be proud of. And what else could you do? What else would you want to do in this life but to change the world and make it better? And that's what he's doing, and that's fabulous. Kudos to you, Leonard.
Thank you very much. And for the investors out there, we think there's a good return that I emphasize as well. Again, it's from a policy and a tax point of view, and a potential for economic development and potential for after-tax investor returns. It's just a wonderful composite of all of those things, and that's why we really like the program.
Yeah, that's why this podcast was great, because it gave investors something to look into if they want to invest in businesses and opportunity zones, and give these businesses that want to be in opportunity zones a resource to contact to see about potential investing into their company. So this is really been great. Len, thanks so much for being a guest on this show today. I really appreciate your time, and it was really some great information. I really enjoyed this one.
Okay, thank you very much.
It was very great.
Yes, and Vicki, thanks a lot for co-hosting. Folks, you're listening to the Navajo USA podcast on NavajoUSA.com. You go to that homepage, just scroll down, you'll see all our syndication sources. Just pick the one you like the best, subscribe, and you'll never miss another one of our podcasts. If you want to be a guest of the show like Len was today, guest tab there, just click it, fill out the form. We can do by getting you on the show. And if you like what you heard today, send us an email at info@NavajoUSA.com. Or just leave a comment on whatever page you're listening to this on now. So thanks for your support. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time with another Navajo USA podcast. Have a great week, everyone.